Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you set 2 of the Winners League Finals between SKT and KT. S2 getting the win in the first set against Action. Now he's going to play crazy-hydra, so we are going to see another ZVZ, unfortunately. Nothing I can really do about that to help you out. Instead, we're just going to have to deal with it and hope that we can get a good one. The one versus Action was okay. A little light on the action. Well, okay, didn't actually mean to make that pun. A little light on the battles, but still pretty fun overall. And hopefully this one will be even better. S2 versus crazy-hydra on Fortress. We can only hope. crazy-hydra coming over from Lungjin Stars. Lungjin Stars added light from MBC, so suddenly crazy-hydra became a little bit expendable. They just had so many of those above average to, you know, pseudo-ace players that crazy-hydra kind of became expendable. So that's why he's here at KT. So what else to say? It looks like we got crazy-hydra on the left in yellow. We got S2 on the right in red once again. So if he wins again, perhaps we could start making the S2 as red as a dominant force. Comments. See how that goes. And I mentioned this at the end of the last video. Is the Pro League Kong line? This was kind of I hadn't really realized it, but apparently KT, the two of the old top players of the old guard are Yellow and Reach, and Yellow obviously inventing or being the first of the Kong line, it being named after him. Really, for all the yellows, or for all the silvers that Yellow got in all of the Star League finals and everything to Boxer in particular and to other players as well. They called it the Kong line, but also apparently KT has a history of getting silver in Pro League finals as well, and Yellow and Reach are both part of that. They've both been to several of these and have lost over and over again. I think at least one of them to SKT, if not more, to the old SKT teams of Uv and maybe even if it goes back that far. If I don't remember if they really had Pro League. Yeah, I think they did back that far when Boxer and stuff were playing. If they really had this as established, this is now. And what the heck is that? That is ugly. There's a brown man with a red hair. That was not a pretty sight. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. And I'm also gonna hope that he's not actually a brown man, because that's and it's not very good for our race to be looking like that. We're gonna pretend that he's not. That's what we're gonna do. Anyways, that should be all we see of him. And we do have, again, we got pool first coming from both players, so no 12 hatches here. For crazy-hydra, just kind of crazy-hydra doing more of what S2 did last game and going and setting up for a pretty early, an earlier hatchery, and S2 is going to take the later hatchery in this case. This time, so S2 looking to be a little bit more aggressive, and Action going to be slightly, if not very much, more defensive. You see S2 has already started his lair, whereas crazy-hydra has not. crazy-hydra actually makes it really difficult because you can't call him Hydra because there's not only is there a player named Hydra, there's an MSL winner, your most recent MSL winner named Hydra, so you can't call him Hydra. And calling him Crazy, it just feels weird to say Crazy is going here, or Crazy is being crazy, so you kind of have to call him Crazy-hydra. Unfortunately, it kind of makes it complicated in that. Was that a parody of Bunky? I think KT made like that looked like the parody of SKT's little Bunky creature. It looks like KT made I don't know, I couldn't see the emblem on it to make sure that it was actually a KT mascot, but it looked like KT maybe made a SKT parody, which would be awesome if they are making fun of Bunky. I would love that. I think mascot wars entertain me because they're just ridiculous and they make no sense at all, particularly in college sports, and when they start getting into fights, I think it's retarded for the most part, but it's really funny too when you think about how serious people are taking mascots of all things. Kind of amusing, or sad, depending upon your perspective. It looks like S2 getting aggressive here, and crazy-hydra has pulled off a drone just as S2 did in the previous game. Basically reversed positions for S2. How will he respond? Will he be able to get a win in a position that Action was not against him? So this should be a little bit different, and for S2 having that reverse position. He has already started his Spire, and he will take aerial superiority first. He does recognize that he's not going to have the ground troops very long, not even going to try to be aggressive here. Even if he had won that ground battle, if he had gone in there and won, and let's say he had 4 Zerglings left over, he wouldn't be able to do anything with those 4 Zerglings because crazy-hydra would have sat here and been pumping out Zerglings the entire time and would have been able to reinforce and be fine. crazy-hydra here throwing down a Spire quicker than in last game when S2 really waited to throw, or I'm sorry, when S2 really waited quite a while to throw down his Spire and went for Spore Colonies first. So already seeing a little bit different build from crazy-hydra. crazy-hydra probably still acting a lot like a Woongjin Star player, their tendencies, and Woongjin Star Zergs, for whatever reason, have not had a lot of success in ZVZ. Outside of Zero, when it gets to Hive Tech and getting kind of creative, they have not had a lot of success. One of those weird quirky things where they're really good ZVT and pretty solid ZVP, but for some reason ZVC is just, they as a group are collectively are not very good. And here we do have a battle, and it looks like S2 has a far superior concave. Wow, that was very slow retreating out of that by crazy-hydra. Very poor on his part, engaging there and actually staying in that fight for 3 or 4 seconds when he should have realized basically instantaneously that he was in a poor position and turned around and gotten out of it. But it looks like he didn't take too much damage. He did take some, and he's definitely behind on the Zergling count, but he might still be able to defend with that additional production that he has. And S2 coming in here with Mutalisk as well, trying to get outside of that Spore Colony range while still helping his Zerglings, and not able to do so yet. Looks like he's going to be able to harass the mineral lines because crazy-hydra does not have that many Spore Colonies, just one in his natural and probably one in his main as well. S2 is getting up his natural expansion. It should be about halfway done. Yeah, it looks like a little over halfway done. And he will be able to start mining from that base as well. Note that crazy-hydra has not taken his second gas yet, so even though he has that Spire up, he's not going to be able to pump Mutalisk like Action was. It's not going to be quite as quick. It's just not... while they started out in reverse positions, the builds as they've transpired from then have not been the same. So this is definitely going to be a different looking game than the last one. Started out very similar, but now it's going to be very, very different. And we'll see who can come out on top if S2 has a superior build, if S2 has a superior strategy. We have a couple Scourge from crazy-hydra coming into the main of S2 and picking off a Mutalisk just as it spawns, so that's a little depressing for S2, but not much he can do about that. crazy-hydra coming in with about 10 Zerglings looking to get aggressive here, and there are some Zerglings in defense for S2. Will he get any Mutalisk in support? He's going to need a Mutalisk to come in support. There it is. There's the Mutalisk for S2, as well as some more Zerglings. It looks like S2 is also able to pick off a couple of drones for crazy-hydra that were mining gas. Not enough Spore Colonies for crazy-hydra right now to play defense, and he has virtually no Mutalisk. Ooh, a couple of Scourge landing again there by S2. So S2 so far, last game and this game, has not had, what is he doing? Not had the best Mutalisk control against Scourge. Really shocking for him to letting those Scourge hit. And it looks like crazy-hydra's actually won a Zergling battle inside of S2's base. There are a couple Mutalisk left to help try and finish this off, and they are going to clean it up, but there are some Scourge there as well. So right now S2 is microing 2 groups of Scourge and trying to defend, or 2 groups of Mutalisk trying to defend against Scourge, although it looks like he's brought his main force home here to try and help out. And thank you S2 for killing both of those Scourge. That would have been really depressing if you had let either of those hit as well. But both players, I mean, this is kind of an interesting position. Once again, I'm definitely favoring S2 significantly. crazy-hydra does have the Spore Colonies, but not a lot of them, and he doesn't have a lot of drones. We saw last game S2 snuck a lot of drones in, and that was why... that was part of the strategy of getting all those Spore Colonies, was getting extra drones in so that we could mine off of 2 gas. He's not even using his main gas right now, and it looks like he only has maybe 8 or so drones total, and it's not very good for him. And he's building Scourge because he's not going to be able to get the Mutalisk count, and he's hoping that S2 can make some errors and allow some more hits for him. But just doesn't look like it's happening, and now he's just losing so many Scourge that he's just basically throwing away gas. And I'm really fearing for crazy-hydra at this point. It's really complicated position for him, and it's really hard for him to develop out of this. Normally, but at this stage, you would have some sort of advantage with that natural expansion coming up first, and not really being killed at any point in a Mutalisk fight, or really losing any fight. But he just hasn't been able to defend himself well enough, and now it looks like he is going to come for an attack with the Zerglings, and his mules are going to take care of the Scourge with pretty much with ease. And will his mules try to engage? No, they won't. He's got enough Mutalisks that he might actually be able to kill that Spore Colony with the Mutalisks and the Zerglings combined, and just try and win that way. It looks like he's trying to do something like that. Bring in more Zerglings to engage the Zerglings of crazy-hydra. It looks like he has enough Zerglings that he's going to be able to take down the Spore Colony, and once that goes down, that's it, folks. That's GG. I mean, there's just no way that crazy-hydra is going to be able to defend himself now without that Spore Colony, and he's going to stay in the game, of course, to force S2 to continue, you know, microing and clicking around and try and wear him down just a little bit more. But I mean, this game is over. Just a matter. There's GG from crazy-hydra. So it's 2 wins for S2, and things starting to look bleak already for KT Rolster. S2 with a 2-kill. Probably will face stats next, and this is getting kind of nuts at this point. How is he doing this? S2 beating Action and crazy-hydra, 2 ZVZs, S2 on a hot streak, and that's kind of been a theme, really, for SK Zergs, is their streaky nature. So we'll see him in the next set. I'm probably about 99.9% sure it will be stats, and we'll see a ZVP on Icarus. I will see you guys all there for stats versus S2, unless KT does something crazy.